Recording using a DAW 101. The first thing you need to do is decide what interface you're going to use. Me, for example, I'm using the Quad Cortex. So I have to download a driver for my interface on the computer side. So go to the computer and find the software and download whatever driver you need so that it will pick up your interface, and so you can run guitar, mics, whatever you want to do. As soon as you've done that, you open your program and hit, or open your preferences. For Cakewalk, you just hit P, which will open the preferences. In devices, I want to make sure I've got everything checked so that it will pick up all the all the input drivers and output drivers for the Quad Cortex, which that's usually already checked for you. I want to go to driver settings and make sure that it is, both of them are set to device and outs 1. So as you see, Neural DSP audio device to 1, and the record timing master is also device input 1. I usually keep it on 12, 48, and then 24 audio driver bit depth 24. It's doing pretty good running my buffer size at 1.3, 64 samples right now. And I always want to make dang sure that I'm using ASIO. I like ASIO is a way better quality than the other one. I think it's MME3 or MME32. That's an older technology for older computers, but I want to use ASIO if I can, because that is the good stuff. A lot of times I'll come in here and start recording, and I'll notice that I don't have any sound coming out, and I get confused and I don't know what to do. I have found that usually the reason is if I add a track. So if I go up here and add a track right there, so if I go to add a track and then it adds, I need to make sure that I have the correct input. So right here is input, as you see. If I select input 1 or 2, that's going to be dry. For my Quad Cortex, that will be a dry signal, meaning I have no effects. So it's going to sound like an acoustic guitar. But if I want to hear a wet signal, meaning that I hear all the effects that I'm running through my pedal, I need to make sure that I'm using USB output 3, US output 4. And that is, as you see, a stereo. That's the one I need to get a wet signal. And then if I'm still not hearing anything, I need to make sure that my output is going to the correct place. In this case, I'm sending everything to the master, because if you have, several stems in here, they're all going to go to a master track. For example, if I put my mouse on one of these, it's going to bring up the volume for this, whatever track you choose. But the master track's always going to be here. And if you want to put effects and stuff on it, simply make sure, hit your display down here and make sure you have FX rack checked, so that when you scroll up and look around, that you'll find your effects, and then you can add effects and stuff, as you see I've done. When you are ready to start recording, make sure that you hit your monitor. I know it says input echo on. I don't know why they do that. In reality, that is your monitoring box to make sure that you can hear what you're playing, because if you don't, you won't be able to hear anything. But if you tick that, it'll come out through my speakers or headphones, and I can hear and monitor what I'm playing. You have to arm the track by hitting the record button, and then when you're ready and in the position you desire, hit record up here and you will start recording. When you're done, just hit spacebar and you should have your recorded track. Sometimes I'll set everything up right and it just doesn't sound right. Like there's a very strange glitchy sound. Simply save everything that you have set up, exit, and just close the whole interface, and then reopen it. Usually that will fix the glitch and whatever problem you're having. To get your volumes right, first thing I want to do on the Quad Cortex is I want to go to the top here and drag down, and that opens all of my input and output options. So for my input, I literally want to touch and click the input, and now it gives me an option for my input level, and same for outputs. Find my outputs, touch it. Now I have control over volume, and then when I change and turn these volumes, it will show in my master and in that track the volume levels. So if you're not getting enough volume, you need to go in here and fix that. Before I do anything on the master track, any effects, I like to put effects on my actual tracks, on my stems. I'll go ahead and put all the effects I want to on the individual tracks by soloing the track, hitting the S for solo, play it by itself. I make sure that the volumes are not peaking over here and that they're not clipping, and then I will start adding effects to it if needed. Then I'll go to the next track, solo it, and do the same thing. Don't kill yourself with the volumes yet. I mean, get them where they're not clipping, but I've noticed when you play everything unmuted that even though you set them all to not clip, they're still going to clip in the master. So don't go crazy yet. Just get them close. But in the final stages, you're going to end up doing every one of them again to make the master stop clipping at a good level. Sometimes on certain tracks, if they're very, like this one for example, it's just all over the place, it's quiet and then loud, I'll put a limiter on that track. But more often than not, I like to put a limiter on the master track. But you can put limiters on tracks that are kind of sporadic. When I get ready to do the master, I've learned it's best to do it in this order. First, I will do first things first, I will do the EQ. So you want to EQ, do your subtractive EQ, pulling out mids and very low spots you don't need. Then I'll put in my multiband compressors, then saturation, stereo imagers, and finally the limiter. When you're done with all that and you're ready to export, make sure nothing's highlighted like this. Make sure all of your solos are cut off, that all your chords are unarmed. Make sure everything's ready to go. And like I say, make sure no tracks are highlighted, because sometimes it will only export that. What I found to do is find an empty blank spot like this and click it, and see it'll take away highlighting that track. Now hit W on your keyboard and it will take everything to the beginning. And at this point, if you've ensured there's nothing ticked over here, you're ready to export. So simply go to export and then your audio, and then usually I choose MP3 and export your track.